What do all of these celebrities have in common? Can anybody tell me?
Rich.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, at a point in their life, all of them experienced homelessness. Everybody knows Jim Carrey. He lived in his car for a point in time in his life when he was younger. Halle Berry, she lived in a homeless shelter when she was about 21 when she was pursuing her acting career. Kelly Clarkson, before American Idol, her apartment burned to the ground and she had to live out of her car. Hilary Swank moved with her mom to LA when she was 15 years old and had to live out of her car. And William Shatner, when Star Trek canceled in 1970, he had to live out of his pickup truck. And this is just an example of how anyone can be affected by homelessness and this horrible issue. And so our project is on homelessness in the United States, and I'm Anna Davis.
I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Jacob.
2.3 to 3.5 million are affected by homelessness every year. Of that, 1.5 are children, and you can actually be working full or part-time and still be considered homeless. There's 1.3 million children and over 1 million people who are working and can't afford housing. So who's at the greatest risk? Children of female-headed households are at high risk of experiencing homelessness. They're also at high risk of health problems, and it affects their emotional and behavioral developments. It affects their ability to learn. Runaway children are at high risk for substance abuse and being sexually exploited for profit. Most of the time they end up running away to California to try to make a big. Battered women, we just did the group on battered women, so we know all the statistics surrounding with that issue. But they often live in poverty and are often forced to choose between abusive relationship and homelessness. So which is the better option? Being abused or not having this live? Military veterans, according to the National Coalition for Homeless Vets, 1/3 of adult homeless population are veterans, and they also have a higher rate of mental illness and substance abuse. If you think back to the Levittown video, it just kind of sheds light on how it was different for the veterans that were getting out of the war and got the GI Bill and could afford housing. Elderly people who live on fixed incomes, they rely heavily on government and community assistance because they can't leave their homes or the shelters and are able to get out and just be active in the community as far as trying to get assistance. So these are all marginalizers. Poverty and homelessness are linked. If you're unable to afford your basic needs like food or shelter or water or clothing, this is really sad. They go hand in hand, poverty and homelessness. If you don't have access to affordable, adequate housing and a safe environment, because rent absorbs a high portion of your income, you're not really going to be making a living wage. And if you're working in a low sector job, you don't really have access to benefits that would help you pull yourself out of poverty and homelessness. The lack of public assistance, because there's such a high demand for aid, and it clearly exceeds the resources that are available, there are really long waiting lines, which determines how quickly you can get aid, which affects how quickly you can pull yourself out of poverty or homelessness. There's also guidelines that determine if you can qualify for public assistance. There's the access to health benefits. Like I said, if you're working in a low sector or agricultural job, health benefits are rare. So if you get ill or get injured on the job, this could lead you to homelessness. Domestic violence. At least half of women and children experience homelessness, flee from domestic violence. I'd probably flee. I would get abused, to be honest. And if you have a mental illness or an addiction, this kind of gives a negative response from society. The average American believes 1/3 of homeless people are mentally ill, and if you have an addiction, you're more vulnerable to be homeless because you'll spend your money to feed your addiction, whether it's tobacco or alcohol, gambling, drugs, fast food. You can go broke from.
How is homeless measured? Homeless population, is hard to get a good, accurate count on the number of how many homeless people we have in the United States. Basically, you have the sheltered homeless and the unsheltered homeless. Your sheltered homeless are those who are living in temporary housing, maybe, or Habitat for Humanity, those with low income that are at risk of being homeless. Your unsheltered are the ones that we commonly mistake as being just your homeless population because they live on the street. Point in time counts. This is the method used in accounting for the homeless population. Point in time is when they get a head count on your homeless population at any given period. In your period of prevalence, that's maybe it is the population count during a specific period. So to join these two, sheltered and unsheltered, the federal definition of it is anyone who lives in, who does not have a nice, consistent nighttime residence, who lives in maybe a park or somewhere they're not allowed to, where they create laws to keep these citizens from sleeping there. Government assistance. Federal assistance was available first in 1987 by the Stephen B. McKinney Act. At first there was 20 programs that it was initially supposed to kick off and help, but now only 6 of these are being used by the HUD program today, the Housing of Urban Development. One of the programs is the Emergency Shelter Programs. These provide homeless persons with basic shelter and essential supportive services. The ESG funds or the grants are available to state and local governments who may be providing assistance to shelter these homeless people. They usually use the money for rebuilding or remodeling old buildings. Supportive Housing Demonstration Program, or just the Supportive Housing Program, provides transitional housing assistance and also provides permanent residence for handicapped homelessness. Section 8 housing, Section 8 moderate rehabilitation for single occupied dwellings. These are for single adults. They're given rent at a fair market rent, and I think they're 10 years, like 10 years. They have 10 years before they can they run out of that assistance. And supplemental assistance to facilities to assist the homeless. That's basically the same thing as your grants almost. They're giving money to provide facilities for the homeless people. The Single Family Poverty Disposition Initiative, I like this one. HUD actually is able to sell or lease homes that have been foreclosed on to families with children and such. There is an eligibility issue because if the houses are in like poor condition or have lead-based paint in them or something, kids like children under age 7 don't qualify for these houses. Temporary assistance for needy families was developed under the Clinton administration in '96, and this is to help low-income families or at-risk families of homelessness to provide financial assistance for them. Those are laws helping the homeless. These are laws that tend to criminalize the homeless people. You see, there's a guy sleeping on a park bench here. Sometimes you may see someone holding a sign at an exit ramp or something, and the cops may stop and move them out of town, or tell them to keep moving or something. So these are some of the things that society does, or that government does, that tends to classify or depict these people as second-class citizens.
Here's some common stereotypes that we call homeless people. Bum, hobo, drug addict, depends on what type of substance abuse they're using or whatever. They're immoral and lazy. They're ambitionless. They're untrustworthy, and it's personally they're at fault because they're thought to put themselves in this situation.
The reality of the situation is a lot of times these people are obviously marginalized groups, and the stigmas that are attached to them aren't really the case for everyone. We have a quick video that just kind of sheds light on the reality of the situation. Sorry about the sound.
That made me feel invisible for the most part. Those are the most vivid memories, just the utter frustration and really, for me, sort of disbelief and denial that I was actually in this position.
The hardest part for me was when I was sleeping at night. It was the most degrading. It was awful. Some nights we had blankets, some nights we didn't. People didn't steal our blankets from us.
I was a forgotten human being, because no one actually wants to acknowledge that they see a homeless person. I really fell into depression by being out there because when you're homeless, a lot of times you spend alone.
I'm pretty self-conscious about being homeless. People definitely do react to someone who's homeless in a manner that usually isn't real refreshing. When you got everything you own on your back and you got something that ought to be at home sticking out of your knapsack, you're homeless in this town. And you kind of get treated like a second-class citizen, really.
I've heard, kind of people looking and saying under their breath, you really need to stop wasting my taxpayers' money. Why don't you go get a job? And they really don't understand that. Yes, you see that person sitting in front of your subway stop, and yes, you see that person, but you don't know where that person's been. You don't know that person's situation. That person could have had a very bad health problem. They could have been HIV. They could.
Well, she mentions about HIV right there. There's a place, Section 8 housing in Atlanta that provides permanent housing for HIV and AIDS victims. It's a pretty cool thing.
Our next slide covers my friend's place. It's more for the youth homeless, and it was founded in 1988, and it's one of the most frequently visited drop-in resource centers for the homeless youth in Southern California, serving over 1,600 youth ages from 12 to 25 and their children also each year. They also offer free and comprehensive care that combines emergency necessities and therapeutic help and education services also. 3 of the main program areas that are work there are the Safe Haven program, the Transformative Education program, and the Health and Wellbeing program. What makes them unique is that they're not government-based or religiously affiliated, and they are 99% privately funded. They use the harm reduction approach, which they provide education and support the youth so they can reduce harm caused by high-risk behaviors associated with street survival. And we have another video clip.
I've been on the street off and on since I was 18. I I've been to prison, I've been to jail.
I know none of us wants to be in the situation that we're in. It's not like we're bad people or we're like bums.
I was talking about being hungry and needing food, and they said, I know a place where we can go eat and hang out.
Thousands of young people come to Hollywood in search of a dream, but they can often fall on hard times. There are many organizations that help the homeless in Hollywood, but not all of them cater to homeless youth.
The way my friend's place started was, it was a group of volunteers who were driving around Hollywood serving meals to young people out of the trunks of their cars. And it was always based on forming relationships with youth and really making sure that they get what they need.
It's not just about coming in and getting some food and taking a shower.
We have evolved into a comprehensive service agency for homeless and runaway young people here in Hollywood.
One of the primary reasons young people come to us at first is for a meal.
People are coming in now just to get basic needs met mostly. So food, we'll offer showers, we'll open a clothing closet in a little bit.
When you're homeless, I don't think a lot of people have the luxury of washing their clothes, and so they wear their clothes until they just can't wear them anymore, and so they come here and get some clean clothes.
Many young people will travel with animals as a service barrier and say, I can't come in because I have an animal. But what we say is, yes, please come in. We've got dog food, and we've actually got a pro-bono vet who will come on a monthly basis to help take care of the young people's animals. We have incredible help educators, direct service counselors, transformative education team, and clinical social workers that work with the young people on a day-to-day basis.
There's people that you can talk to, like if you have stuff on your mind, they'll take you to an isolated area, confidential, and you can just get stuff off your chest.
The staff here.
See how this nonprofit organization is trying to help with the youth homelessness in California, but it doesn't just affect population in California. If there are more programs and organizations like this widespread across every state, then it definitely help with decrease in youth homelessness, which for people our age, virtually could be sitting in our position, but because they were trying to choose to do in California, factors that just led them to homelessness. Homelessness in Georgia, California actually ranked second in the states with the highest percentile of homelessness. And Georgia ranks 17 out of 50 states. I don't know if you guys recently heard, but there was a homeless man that was killed in Valdosta, Georgia. Many of you have probably driven by the vacant locos, park and rail on Thornton Road. And about 3 months ago, his body was found in the back of the building. He had been sleeping, it was nighttime, and his name was Charles William Setzer, and he was 55 years of age, homeless. And I actually met a guy that knew him from this frequent visits at Waffle House. He would come out back, give him coffee or a couple waffles, and talk to him. He said he was always trying to find work. Despite he had a drinking problem, that's just kind of how he dealt with the situation of being homeless. And he was actually killed by this man right here, Matthew Bollick, who is a 55-year-old homeless man as well. So that just kind of made me think of social Darwinism, survival of the fittest. That even when people who have little, less than nothing, they're still fighting to survive out there. And if there was a way that we could help, or the community could help, or the government could aid better if benefits were distributed and not just for single mothers or elderly. They kind of pick and choose who they want to help, and a lot of people are just kind of thrown under the bus. So this is what we've done to kind of help the cause of the issue of homelessness. We told our friends and family about the issue. We posted my friend's website on our Facebook pages. We donated meals to the homeless. In recent weeks, we donated our time to the Haven to help clean out the donation center. And we made and sold bracelets. Although we didn't raise as much money as we were hoping to, it still helps. Every little bit counts. So the fact that we're trying to, change the face of homelessness or change somehow aid in the best way we can. Everyone has a part that they can everyone has something they can contribute to this cause. So here's ways that you can help. You can donate, advocate, or volunteer. You can become a member at myfenceprice.org. You can clean out your house or closet and donate useful items to a local homeless shelter. You can help out at your local soup kitchen. Or you can purchase an advocacy bracelet from us. And here are the ways that the donations to My Friend Place actually aid in helping the homeless. Only so much money gets them, $50 for transportation, to become a job interview, $5,000 provides therapy for an entire year for someone who's mentally ill or has an addiction. And all these are like, outside factors that are kind of uncontrollable a lot of the times. Think of like natural disasters, things that people can't control.